Well, those who do social engineering in our culture do it by manipulating the language. They did it, and they're still doing it, to redefine marriage. In New Zealand here, they did it about 10 years ago. And they're now trying to manipulate the language to redefine biology, especially as it relates to females. Let's check it out. So during the same-sex marriage debate in 2012 here in New Zealand, we produced a pamphlet entitled 21 Reasons to Protect Marriage. Now, that was because we needed 21 more votes out of the 121 MPs in Parliament at the time to defeat the bill. But there was also 21 good reasons to defeat it. Unfortunately, we fell short because the vote ended up as 77 to 44. And 44 wasn't enough. We needed at least 61 votes. But we made a prediction that sadly we were right on. We said this: banning mother, father, husband and wife. This was one of our 21 reasons not to change the definition of marriage. And we said the health department in the US state of Washington is to remove the words husband and wife from marriage and divorce certificates after same-sex marriage was approved. The UK government has said the words husband and wife will have to be removed from official documents if marriage is redefined. In France, the words mother and father are set to be stripped from official documents. And in Spain, terms such as mother and father have become progenitor A and progenitor B on birth certificates. Has this happened in New Zealand? Well, under the birth certificates law that was recently passed, each parent who is notifying the birth of a child can specify whether they wish to appear on the child's birth certificate, not as the child's mother or father, but just as the parent. And often on forms, you'll see the title father or mother is not an option. It's just parent or even caregiver. I mean, spouse, that's almost as offensive as the F word, isn't it? And marriage is, well, if you listen to the Disinformation Project, marriage is now only for trad wives. And of course, we can't even define what is a woman now. The definition of a girl in many dictionaries now includes if you identify as a girl. So the attack on marriage morphed into the ultimate goal, the attack on gender, and ultimately the attack on family. And now it's an attack on the cervix and whether men can have one. In June last year, the Broadcasting Standards Authority in New Zealand issued new guidance on coverage of gender identity issues. And they said this: inclusive, it goes over 2 pages, sorry about this. It says inclusive language is unlikely to breach broadcasting standards, particularly when reporting on harm to underrepresented communities or groups adversely affected by a particular practice. For example, they said in an item on trans men and non-binary people missing out on cervical screenings, the BSA, see down the bottom there, the BSA found the term people with cervixes was accurate and did not denigrate woman. Well, that's even though biology dictates that only women have one. But hey, let's not stick to biological accuracy or logic. And then back in September, there was this from Etu Pacifica in Canterbury: women and people with a cervix. Dear Pacifica people, perhaps think about finding a health provider who understands and acknowledges biology, not wokeness. And then I was sent these images in April of this year. A woman, adult human female, she wasn't too happy with the woke and factually untrue Te Whatu order sign in the public toilet, saying that cervical screening is for eligible wahine and people with a cervix. So she, an adult human female, by the way, with a cervix, scribbled it out and replaced it with woman, as you can see there, adult human female, by the way, and added at the bottom, only women have a cervix. You go, girl. But this social engineering, or wokeness as we call it, is also overseas. Check out this video from New South Wales Health a couple of years ago. Now, the fact that the presenter is referring to some of us means that it looks like a male but must be a female. Or maybe it's a him who wants to have a cervix. I don't know. It's a feat of nature. Oh, and apparently the screening can be done on 2 parts of your body. Yeah, amazing. Listen to the labels, have a watch.
I heard you can do the test yourself. Our community is very into DIY. LGBTI Q&A. Your questions answered by the inner circle. With the new cervical screening test, some of us have the option to do the test ourselves. That means no speculum, just a swab. Your doctor or nurse will give you a small swab like this one and tell you how to collect a sample from your vagina or your front hole. Talk to your doctor or nurse to find out if self-collection is the right option for you. If you've got questions, we've got answers. Visit the Inner Circle for more information.
Yeah. I got questions. Front hole? I mean, let's just call it biologically what it is. But apparently New South Wales Health is very beholden to a group that's a little bit like the Inside Out in New Zealand or AIDS Foundation, which is now the Burnett Foundation, because we don't want to really put labels on what the actual issues are, eh? I mean, AIDS doesn't sound too good. But anyway, that's Australia. Canada would have to be part of this madness. Yep, you're right. And just this month, the Canadian Cancer Society apologised for referring to the cervix by its technical name, rather than euphemisms such as front hole. Yeah, that's similar to what New South Wales Health called it. The agency also conceded that men can have these body parts too. Yeah, apparently. In a page on cervical cancer screening for LGBTQ people, the Canadian Cancer Society wrote, "Trans, non-binary and gender diverse people face significant barriers to accessing healthcare and are less likely than cisgender people," a made-up word, cisgender, "to be screened for cancer." And then in a Words That Matter section on the organisation's official website, the Canadian Cancer Society atoned for the fact that some non-binary and transgender people might find the term cervix offensive and preferred to use slang terms instead. The Canadian Cancer Society wrote there, "We recognise the limitation of the words we've used while also acknowledging the need for simplicity." Yeah, they recognise their limitations, but not their abundance of wokeness. Now, I mean, it's amazing. Normalise the reality that men can have these body parts too, really. Now, a report by True North, which is a Canadian online newspaper on this issue, said, women's rights activists argue that the terminology is both objectifying and derogatory. British gender critical writer Julie Burchill accused LGBT activists of erasing women by adopting the term. She said both bonus hole and front hole are recommended as trans-friendly alternatives to vagina. Trans ideologues have long tried to erase or appropriate any word that is specific to female, from woman to mother and now vagina. And they have gained a foothold in our schools and in our media. Now gynecological health providers are swallowing the stupid pills too, she said. The term front hole and bonus hole have been popularised by LGBTQ activists as a replacement for the biologically correct term vagina. And in 2022, controversy erupted after the Boston Children's Hospital used the term. In a video by the hospital, Dr. Elizabeth Bosky said, "A transgender male teen may still have a vagina. He won't call it a vagina. He may use the term front hole or a different term." Team, a transgender male is a girl. It's a vagina. Get used to it. But it's fairly obvious, isn't it, that biology is being replaced by ideology, because biology reinforces the natural family and rebuts transgender ideology. And in our 2012 marriage pamphlet, we also said this: biology is not bigotry. Marriage combines the complementary characteristics of men and women as defined by nature. Nature is exclusive and discriminatory in that only the union of a man and a woman can produce another life. It makes sense to treat something so unique in a special way. And we also said in the pamphlet, equality is not sameness, and difference is not inequality. Females are different to males. We all know that. Same-sex marriage and redefining marriage to remove the importance of gender was actually just the start. The removal of the biological recognition of gender is the ultimate goal, because then the destruction of the natural family will be almost complete. Because the nature of family is complementary: male, female, mother, father, sons, daughters, sperm, egg. Can get pregnant? Definitely can't get pregnant. Can breastfeed? Definitely can't breastfeed. And biology always wins, no matter how hard the activists try to persuade us otherwise.